both sides look good. However, being as that only basically the corners and the outside edge are going to be seen, I just wouldn't need to worry about the corners and outside edges. The fact that the centers here don't match doesn't matter. So when I get my dial on here, preferably the right way up, of course. Yeah, and this is perfectly square, by the way. So the idea is to try and eyeball it at first, and then fine-tune it. Mind you, I'm probably not going to be able to glue it on that straight later anyway, so anyway, you get the idea. Maybe a smidgen this way. It's hard to tell. Well, like I say, I'm not going to get it glued on that straight anyway. Well, maybe this board isn't perfectly square. Maybe I should measure it. Oh, one more thing. I've concluded that I cannot use the buffing system. The reason being is I can envision a real disaster if I was to try and buff this. I can envision the buffer catching this and have it go flying out of my hands here because of the shape of it. So I'm going to use the wipe on poly, which is kind of too bad. Okay, I think I got it. Now I know some of you are probably thinking, why didn't I just draw lines from corner to corner? And where it intersects, that's going to be the dead center. But that just makes a whole lot too much sense. I got a little problem going on here. And it's a good thing that I noticed it, before I, drilled my pocket holes down to the sides to hold the bottom on here. You're recognizing this as the base. And the problem is not this end, it's this other end here. And let's get this centered up here, and we'll move in nice and close. Okay, don't worry about that burn mark, that'll sand out. But it's these blue lines here. Now this is from where they put the a wax or something to keep the end from cracking. This was the very end of that board. It had that number 7 written on it. I should have cut more off. I should have gone further in this way, but I didn't. Too late now. Well, maybe it's not too late now. So I'm going to take off another 1/8 of an inch, go in a little further, and see if I can get beyond this, what I believe to be some sort of a wax. Now, it's possible that once I round this over, or rather once I put the finish on, it's not going to show up anyway, because this is going to darken a lot. But on the other hand, it might. And once I get the holes drilled in here and the sides are fastened down to the base, well, that's where it's got to stay. So I think now is the time to see if I can make a slight adjustment, and I realize that it means I'm going to have to dig out my router again and reroute this end over. But that's okay. We lost a little over 1/8 of an inch, and that's all. That won't even be noticeable. Those blue lines are gone now. I'm very, very happy. Now, there's no way that I get the top and the bottom mixed up. Well, I suppose I could, but the top is a little bit shorter than the bottom. However, some of these pieces are mirror image to each other. For instance, this one could be mistaken for this one if it was turned over. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to index some of this stuff. There's actually this piece, and this piece, and this piece. It's just 4. Well, I guess this can also be turned around. It is actually the same dimension no matter which way you turn it. It's perfectly square, in other words. So I'm just going to index them. Okay, so this is number 1. Number 1. This will be number 2. This will be number 2. And this will be number 3. Now I know that's not real clear, but I can see it. And this is number 4. And 4. Okay? Now after I get all the holes drilled, I know that I can put them back exactly the same way. So here we go with the pocket hole jig. Now you know how I always like to show my mistakes. Well, I don't like to, but I do. When I did the second piece, I forgot to move it over enough so that the holes were spaced the same as this. Now fortunately, this is the inside of the clock. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to know unless you guys tell.